And here we are, Global Insurance Accelerator, InsurTech Days 2021, post-COVID. We're back, baby. Who am I speaking with?
My name's Ali Al Jabry. I'm the co-founder of Kwema.
And what do you do?
So Kwema is a Swahili word. It actually means...
I was going to ask you that.
Yeah.
What the derivation?
It's used very commonly in East Africa, and it is kind of used to say, hey, is everything okay? And then also used to say like, hey, I'm doing pretty fine. Everything is well.
Kwema?
And, yeah. Okay. So like you can say, it's like saying all good. Like you're like, okay. All good, you can use it as a question, or you can use it as like an affirmation, right? So that's kind of what we do. We help people say they're doing well and they're okay, and also empower companies to ask their employees if they're doing okay. And in a nutshell, we provide a wearable service for employee safety that is focused on very dangerous workplaces.
Okay. And
very dangerous is it's a beauty's in the eye of the beholder kind of thing, because you could not notice a workplace is dangerous if you don't spend the time understanding the risks your employees face.
Okay.
So it's been pretty interesting, this journey we've had. We started it about 4.5 years ago when one of my close friends and one of my ex-co-founders' friends was kidnapped in South America. She was living in Miami and going back to Latin America and had asked her mom to wait for her at home with cab money. And she never made it home. So her mom was like, where's my daughter? She asked for cab money. She didn't have any local currency. She clearly was coming home, and she's on home now, and it's been 3 hours. Something definitely went wrong. So she started sharing the news on Facebook, on Twitter. It became viral and actually saved her life. The kidnappers let her go, and they were not interested in ransom. They were interested in sex trafficking. They were going to take her to a different country. She would have never been found. So when the idea came to replicate what saved her, because AIG reported in 2019 that 40,000 business travelers were kidnapped, we thought, what if we take a stab at this problem? And that's kind of how Kwema was born. We created a tiny device the size of 2 quarters and put it into different wearable form factors that are incognito. We started off with jewelry because we were focused more on the female demographic, and quickly grew and understood the problem we were solving, talked to thousands of users, and stumbled across an employee safety market, which was our entryway to this humongous market that was pretty overlooked and kind of hidden. But thanks to technology, social media, democratization of information, it's becoming more and more evident that employees face high amounts of risk. Everything from hospitals to industrial workplaces, and I'm happy to throw some stats here. So to give you an idea, 22x healthcare workers are 22x more likely to suffer an assault than any other employee group. So let that sit in for a minute. Like, that's very high risk workplaces, and mass shootings are not going down. There's been a lot of cases that so some of the customers we work with were corporate security directors, and they are just mind blown by the capacity we have to reduce the reaction time. But here's the interesting part. We were doing wearables, jewelry initially, but we found an even bigger market, and I'll let you guess this. There's a wearable we created that was based on an accessory that over 500 million people worldwide already wear, and over 100 million working Americans already wear. I'll let you guess what that accessory might be.
First thing is a watch.
Okay.
Second would be glasses. Belt.
You're pretty off.
Okay.
So think of it. Employees wear this.
Oh, badge?
Yes.
What are they? Lanyard.
Yeah. So we made a smart badge reel. Wearing one right now. So
what's it do?
We keep it stupid simple. So employees can already adopt this without needing any training, because they wear it to key into wherever they have to work out of, right? So it basically has an activator. When you press the button, it locates where you are within an indoor facility with very high precision. So we could figure out where you are to the corner of a 500,000 square feet plastic manufacturing floor, to automating roll call during mass evacuations. So those have been the 2 main use cases we've been identifying. Finding people when they need to be found, when they're in danger, and also automating roll calls so that if thousands of people are evacuating a 64 building, we can know the 50 people who have not evacuated and what floors they're on. And really buy time when time is the most expensive, which is what we like to say.
Yeah.
So, it's been really interesting just exploring these use cases and understanding the risks these employee groups face. And naturally, that obviously leads into the insurance world.
Yeah. So the benefits go beyond workers' compensation here, right?
Correct.
Like you brought up roll call.
Yep.
So I'm picturing 9/11
Yeah.
and the chaos, right, that's going on, and how beneficial that would have been.
Yes.
Right, to know, shoot, not everybody's here, or everybody's here. Let's segregate ourselves to some spot. So it's got that value, but also someone I read yesterday in near my hometown where I grew up, a contractor fell. They were doing ceiling work, fell, and was impaled by a rhubarb wire. They extracted him out. He was alive, but I could envision in a workplace area where there's not a lot of people, what if he couldn't scream? What if it punctured his lung and he couldn't scream? And it would, that gets to like potential death situations that you can prevent.
Exactly. So that's been our biggest eye-opener in this last couple of years working on this. We've been really learning about new risks that we never thought existed. So it's been really interesting, also correlating that with movies. Like there's, I'm not sure if you watch Aaron Brockovich, but there's been some really interesting use cases that we've heard about from utility companies, for example, where their work crews are attacked because the nature of their work or their reputation of the company they represent, to plastic manufacturing facilities that people have heart attacks or get machinery incidents in the midst of everybody, but they're under a machine, so nobody knows something's wrong.
Yeah, they can't scream.
They can't scream and it's loud, right? So like when they activate our device, emergency nurses are already on site, but they could have saved him or her, but they didn't because they never knew. They found out too late.
Yeah, that's listen, of course it's extremely interesting, but I'm starting to see this trend, right, with InsurTech where there's much more attention being focused on prevention and cure. I think we take it for granted when Ben Franklin said an ounce of prevention is worth a pound of cure.
Yep.
Like these small preventative things have multiplicative factors in what they ultimately save, right? Death, significant injury. Like the faster you can move, the more you can prevent, the more you can mitigate.
Exactly.
Ultimately, the smaller the ultimate damage, loss, calamity is.
Yeah, and then it's also a practice thing too, because keep in mind that, for example, in the evacuation use case, there's a lot of drills that are mandated or highly suggested by OSHA and other governing bodies, and it's pretty interesting to see that there's not that much consistency. So with our technology, we are kind of building the safety culture, because if a building has to evacuate once a quarter, a fire drill, and they do that, and we provide them telematic data based on the drill they ran with our badges, with our smart badges, they can then improve. So when a real emergency happens, guess what? They're prepared for it.
Yeah.
They have an organized manner, and they're an employee workforce, so they kind of are trained to the task. And there's an example that happened recently, actually. There's a mass shooting in one of the big shipping companies, where when they were asked on live TV, hey, were you guys prepared for this active shooter training? And they were like, no, actually, we were not trained for it. So guess what that did to that brand's value? It brought it down. So there's also a financial perspective here when it comes to brand protection, and it's been really interesting.
There always is.
Yeah.
I think because the brand does not have you don't really see it on a balance sheet, right?
Yeah.
It does have value.
Yeah.
And I think humans, we take it for granted.
Yep.
Because that loss of brand value does not come out of your pocket, it's not something you actively try to protect. But you're right? Being that sort of forward, aggressively proactive around risk management, around doing those things to protect your employees, to protect your customers, to do those sorts of things, it may not increase the value of the brand, but it prevents the decrease of the value of the brand. And that, along with everything else, makes prevention and mitigation so worthwhile.
Yeah, exactly. And that's been what we're learning. So we've become best friends with corporate security directors and learn from them, and then see if we can work together. And believe it or not, more cases than not, we can work with them, and they are actively interested in our technology and implementing it at least with a specific group of employees or with all their employees, depending on the workforce that they majority have.
Yeah. So let's go back to the beginning. Do you have any plans on still using it for international kidnapping or things of that nature? Actually,
that's part of where our insurance intersection happened with executive protection risk insurance, right? So, or kidnapping ransom insurance, as they call it in the industry. So we actually were approached by a couple of carriers that underwrite in that world, and they were pretty interested in our technology, but COVID kind of put that on a pause because nobody was traveling. But this year has been pretty crazy. We've already started re-engaging with companies, and more importantly, started working with a couple of Fortune 500s to add layers of safety for all their executives.
You don't have to answer this question if you don't want to, but one device, right? What's the rough unit cost for a single piece?
So unfortunately, we don't sell a device, we sell a service. So we provide badges, smart badges that's customized to the company's logo and the brand color if it's needed to. Mm-hmm. We provide gateways to make a smart building and provide a digital twin of each facility so that when the security director gets alert on his phone, his or her phone, or his or her tablet, they get a real view of their whole facility and green or yellow or red dots of who's where and who needs help when they're in danger, obviously. So considering that we include all those things as well as 911 service if they need that, there has not been a monthly price that is unanimous with everybody.
Yeah.
Because there's companies that have 1 million square feet. There's a company that has
so every situation's a little bit different.
Yeah, but we provide everything under a monthly per user model.
Yeah.
So that's where it gets exciting because it's always based on.
So it's affordable for small companies
as well as big companies.
Yeah. You get the best of both worlds. This is fantastic. It's amazing. I keep, every time I come to one of these, I keep thinking, like, we're just scratching the surface. Like, what else can we possibly do? And then a new wave of insurtechs comes in and they knock your socks off with what they're doing. So best of luck. That's a really worthwhile endeavor that you're under.
Thank you. I really appreciate it. And it's a pleasure to be here. I had a great day and a great couple of days so far. So I'm excited to culminate today.
So, Ali from Kwema.
Yes, that's correct.
And what's that mean again?
It's like, everything okay?
Everything okay.
And it's also, you say, hey, all good, I'm pretty good. Everything's fine here.
Kwema Ali.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right, take care.